All right. Hey, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me. My name is Kai. I'm going to be hosting this webinar for you guys today. This is one of the first times we've done this webinar. This is we're going to be doing a brief demo at the beginning of this webinar for the first half an hour or so, kind of based around animation in iClone. And after that, for the last half an hour, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a Q&A. So we're going to be taking all your questions. We sent out surveys earlier to ask you what kind of questions you, what kind of concepts and things you wanted to learn about. So we kind of based the demo that we're going to show here off of that. And following that, we're going to be answering your questions as well. So I'm joined by Shife here, who is basically the guy who wrote the manual on iClone. He literally wrote the manual, all the help files and stuff like that. And so we have a lot of knowledge in the room here, mostly from him. I know a little bit as well from time to time. But yeah, he's also teaching a lot of schools as well. So any questions that you have regarding animation, anything iClone, you can ask us here, and we'll try our best to get to your answers. And that's kind of what the purpose of this webinar is here, focusing on the kind of feedback that you guys want to give us and any questions you might have. So all the basic webinar stuff to start off here, we put your questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom panel there. Make sure you throw your questions in there, and we'll answer those within the next half an hour here after the brief live demo. And as well, we're going to be sending out a survey at the end of this webinar, so make sure you fill out the survey for any feedback. We really like to get your feedback, and helps us to improve future webinars and all that fun stuff. Yeah, anything else? I think that's about it. We are broadcasting this live on YouTube if you want to watch. However, if you're watching on YouTube, you will need to join the Zoom. You need to download the Zoom app and ask your questions through there. We can't answer questions on YouTube at the moment. All right, so just make sure that if you are watching on YouTube, you'll need to join the Zoom section there to ask your questions in the QA panel. Okay, I think that's it. We have kind of a lot to go through in the first little bit here. So I'm going to just run a brief demo here to kind of go through a few concepts that I found you guys were asking about in the preview survey to this webinar here. And the first one we're going to talk about is using end effectors. I'm going to do a little bit of motion key editing in this first demo here, a little bit of direct puppet, and mostly using end effectors, because that's kind of the most important concept here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have this, we have this character and this little Humvee on the screen here. You can find this Humvee, it's the UN Task Force. This is a pack that's available from Adolphe Navarro. I'll just maybe do a quick look for this here. UN Task Force iClone, maybe this will pop up here. If you guys are, yeah, here it is. If you guys are interested, I'll throw this in the chat window. One of our premium developers, Antarius here, you can take a look at that. So let's throw this in the chat window for you guys. If you want to take a look at it on your own time here. You got this really cool Humvee, and whoops, where's my chat window? Weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, chat window just came up. Let's throw it in there. There we go. Okay, so yeah, really good set to take a look at. You get some soldiers and Humvees and all kinds of weapons and stuff as well. So really super useful. All right, let's go on to the demo here. So I'm going to take my character. This is a character that I've put together from the uniforms in that pack, and I'm going to just throw him on top of the Humvee here. So I'm pressing the W hotkey here to bring up the movement gizmo, and we're just going to place him over here, zoop, on top of the Humvee. And I'll press the E hotkey to rotate the character like this. Okay. And if you want to look at the values that you're rotating your character at, you can see them here on the bottom right where my transform section is here. My mouse is over right now. And I'll enter in a value of 90 just to keep it kind of angled correctly. And I'll throw this guy over here. And basically, we're going to have him manning the machine gun and firing the machine gun, and his hands are going to be connected to the machine gun using end effectors. Okay, so the first step here is we'll need to put him into that initial position here. And the best way to do that is to use the motion key editor. So I'm going to go up to the animation tab here and edit motion layer tool here. Okay, and we'll just take our character. What we want to do is we want to take our character's hip Okay, so I'm going to select the hip and move the hip kind of down like this. All right, so he's kind of kneeling, and we'll worry about the feet a little bit later. Okay, don't worry about the messed up feet right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my character's left ankle there, and I'm going to move it forward like this. Okay, and we'll just kind of place it where it looks like it's kind of on the top of the Humvee there. And with the other ankle there, we can just use the E hotkey to rotate it like this, and maybe just move it up a little bit. Again, W hotkey and E hotkey are really super important, really useful. Let's take our character's hip down. Now notice as well that I have these TR locks on my ankles, okay? And that means transform and rotation locks. So if I take my character's hip and I move it down like this, the feet are not going to move because they are locked, all right? So just keep that in mind. If I don't have them locked, if I take off the locks like this, for example, what's going to happen is this foot will go through the ground like that. So very important concept here. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that back up. I'm going to take my character's toe and just use the E hotkey and rotate it like this. And maybe just move it up slightly again. Again, this is not too important. We're just trying to get the initial position here so it looks relatively reasonable. Okay, so I think his knees are all set. We can place him maybe, let's use his transform position, move him a little bit more centered. And what I'm going to do now is take my character's hands. Now, I'm going to rotate him slightly forward first by taking his chest bone here, using the E hotkey, and rotating him slightly like this. We could take his head and rotate his head slightly like that. And for the arms, what I can do is I can use the mirror tool here. Okay, just select mirror, and I'm going to select my character's shoulders. And this is going to mirror both sides of the character's body. So both the arms are going to come forward like this. We can rotate them slightly like this, and maybe a bit further in. Okay, just like that. He's like, give me a hug. And then we'll place his forearms kind of tilting inwards a little bit more. Okay, because we want him to be grabbing the handles here on the machine gun. So I'll take the elbows here and just move those in like this. And I'm not going to spend too much time being super specific on this, but this probably need to come down here. We can also use the W hotkey to move them as well. Again, it's just a little bit of tweaking the values for all these here. And all right, I think that should be okay. Let's take the forearms here and rotate them slightly a bit more here. And okay, I'm just going to move the character's hip back slightly so we can get a bit closer to the angle there. There we go. Okay. And just get these up here like that. Okay, good enough. The most important thing is that we kind of have them close to where the handles are. And if you want your character to make a fist, grabbing with the handlebars, it's super easy. You can just go over here to that emotion layer tool and click and drag on the palm of any, because I have mirror selected, it's going to do both. So I can click and drag like this, and I can make fists with my hands like this, okay? And then what I can do is just rotate them. Maybe I'll want to do these individually here. So I'll take off the mirror function and just rotate them slightly. Okay, that one looks okay. And this right one here, we rotate that slightly as well. And zoop. There we go. Okay, we're not going to be too picky. We'll just kind of leave it like that. And there, I think we're good. Looks like he's ready to fire. Okay, now what we're going to get into now is the end effectors. Okay, so end effectors, basically they allow you to utilize human IK to kind of attach, feet or hands to a certain specific area. In this case, it's going to be the handles of our machine gun here. So what we're going to need to do is with our character selected, I'm going to use the edit reach target here. And we're going to, sorry, they're called reach effectors, not end effectors. They're called end effectors in a different program. So reach effectors in iClone, okay? So because I want both of my character's hands to be attached to the machine gun, what I need to do is I can select one of them, and I can hold control and select the other, okay? So now they're both selected. You can see there's like a yellow selection box around my hands there. And what I can do is just enable reach effector by selecting reach effector like this. Okay, so now we have these big balloons on my character's hands. And what I need to do is find those balloons in these are the reach effectors, by the way. I need to find those balloons in my scene manager, going over here, and I'm going to twirl that down. Whenever you enable reach effectors, you're going to have a reach dummy thing that appears here under your character, okay? And if I twirl that down, you can see we have all these separate reach effectors right here, but the only ones enabled right now are the ones for the left and the right hand, okay? So if I select the left hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we pick the parent, we attach it to the machine gun, okay? So I'm going to select pick parent and select the machine gun here, turret, okay? Good enough. And do the same thing for the left hand, okay? Or the right hand, sorry. So right hand, pick parent, and attach to the machine gun, the turret, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now we can make those invisible. We don't need to show them anymore. What I can do now is select my machine gun, right there. And if we press the E hotkey, we can rotate it, and you can see our characters' hands will now follow along with the machine gun rotation, okay? So this is what reach effectors are very useful for. Okay, you can have your character, like riding a bike, for example, is very useful. You can have the feet on the pedals of the bike. You can have the hands on the handlebars and have your character's body move in accordance to whatever motion you want. Okay, so very important to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a quick animation here. And we're going to have our character kind of move along with that motion using Direct Puppet. Direct Puppet's a really quick and dirty tool. You can modify it and refine it later, but I'll show you how you can use it really quickly to create the effect that you want. Okay, so let's press F3 and go into our timeline with our turret selected. Make sure I have object related track selected here on the left. And I'm going to go here to maybe frame 20. We're going to move our turret over here, just like this. Okay, not too far, just maybe a little bit. And we'll go to frame 40, and we'll have it maybe this way over here. Actually, we'll take that a bit further down, maybe to frame 60. Okay, so what we have now is we have the turret rotating like this. If I play back, okay, and I'm going to just right-click on this keyframe right here, the transform keyframe, and copy it. And we're going to paste this back at frame 80. I think that should be fine. Okay. And so then we'll have kind of a loopable motion like that. Okay. And I'm going to just take my project length slider and bring it down here. So you can see it appear in the bottom here. And this is because we're going to loop this using Direct Puppet just to kind of make things a bit easier. And I'm going to make sure we have it loop enabled like this. And okay, now what I'm going to do is also have that firing. So I'm going to right click the turret, and we're going to select script and fire machine gun. Okay, so basically machine gun's firing. And what I'm going to do here is I'm also going to just collect this really quick rotating animation, and I'm going to add some kickback for the machine gun, okay? Since it looks a little bit strange when it's just moving back and forth when it's firing. So I'm going to click and drag into collect clip track. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to select just add to perform, okay? And we're just going to call this rotate, whatever. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Press OK. And then what I'm going to do is just right click it and remove the animation, okay? And then I'm going to right click again and perform and select rotate. Okay, so it's basically going to do the same thing. Just rotate like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is maybe every 2 frames or something, or every 2 frames, I'm going to have the machine gun kick back here. So I'm going to press the W hotkey, and we're going to just have it move back a bit like that. Okay. And then maybe 2 frames ahead. We need to copy this initial keyframe here. So I'm going to click on these 2 keyframes, right click and copy, and paste. We'll just basically paste throughout the entire timeline here. And select more of them here, since the pasting is a bit easier, a bit faster that way. Okay, so paste, paste. I'm just control Ving everything here, by the way. Okay, there we go. Okay, that should be fine. So now we have this. Okay, and I made it a little bit fast, so it may be a bit fast for you guys, yeah, to notice here if there's any sort of lag on the. It's a little bit too fast, but anyways, you kind of get the purpose here. So we have that. We have the rotation and the back and forth, and you can see our character's hands are going along with it. Okay, the arms are kind of moving along with the machine gun right there. Okay, fair enough. And then what I'm going to do is, because it looks a little bit strange when our character is just kind of staying in position, his upper body is just motionless. What I'm going to do here is we're going to have the character's body, upper body, move with a machine gun. Okay, now the easiest way to do that is by going to the motion tool or animation tab here, have our character selected, and use direct puppet. Okay, I use direct puppet for really quick and easy animations. I mean, you can refine it later, but I don't really have time in this webinar to do the refinement. I'm just going to show you how you can use it in a quick and dirty way, like I mentioned here. So I'm going to select the character's upper chest bone here. I believe it's called spine something or the other. And if we select preview and press space, you can see we can move our character like this really easily just by moving my mouse. And once we get the the timing down, we can have the character just kind of move back and forth like this. Looks like he's in a vibration chair or something, getting a massage. Yeah, okay, so you just kind of go through it a few times, and that's why the looping is important. You get the timing right for direct puppet, okay? And then when you're ready to record, you can just go ahead and press record, and then press space, and have the character move like this, okay? And then he'll just do something like this. So we'll have the, okay? And the looping is not perfect, but you kind of get the point here where our character is moving back and forth, his body. And then again, if you want, you can take the head and move the head around separately. Not screen-based. Okay, there's screen-based movement. Maybe you want screen-based rotation instead. As you can just preview that. Whoops. Yeah, like this, and you can have him look around. Okay, and do the same kind of recording. Anyways, so that's just kind of the direct puppet. I just wanted to really quickly show you that tool. If you want to learn more about it, feel free to ask me in the Q&A section. And that's the animation we're going to do for this dude here behind the machine gun turret. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to add another character into our scene here. Let's throw in this this dude here with the mask. Why not throw this guy in here? And I'm going to talk now about, there's a lot of questions about foot sliding. So you guys had questions about foot sliding and how to avoid that. There's many different ways you can avoid foot sliding. I'm going to show you one way that you can really modify what's called a root motion. So a root motion is a motion that will your character's root will change. Now it's important to know the difference between a root and your transform position. I'm going to show you an example in just a moment here. So I'm going to move my character to face this direction here. We'll just kind of ignore the Humvee guy right now. We can just make that all invisible actually, just to focus on this this character. Let's make all the other stuff invisible. Nope, we need to have the Humvee visible actually, because we're going to have this guy move out from behind the Humvee. Okay, so let's create a motion on this character, apply a motion to the character in the content manager, go to our animation tab under motions. Now I have a motion pack that I purchased called motion human mocap pistol moves. Let's just expand this a little bit so we can see pistol moves right here. Okay, and this is a content pack that you can purchase from the content store. And we'll go to search and move. Okay, now we have a couple of motions I'm going to apply to my character. The first one is this hold gun fast forward. He's going to move forward with his gun here. Okay. So what we want this character to do is kind of move towards the rear of the Humvee, and then he's going to kind of strafe to the side. But we're going to change the position of his strafe, the direction of his strafe. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click this to apply it to our character. Okay, you can see the motion clip will appear in the motion track. And if we play back, okay, you can see here he's kind of facing the wrong way. We want to go towards this area of the Humvee. So what I'm going to do here is at frame 1, I can just adjust his initial position. So I'm going to rotate it slightly, just this way. Okay. Now what happens here is notice that frame 1, Now it'll kind of move to the side, which is like not what we want, but we can reapply that motion. Okay, so maybe we'll just position him correctly in the first location here. And we want him to kind of end up right behind the Humvee. So let's do the same thing. And when we apply the motion again, then it's going to go to the right position there, okay? So if you ever come across that situation where you have a root motion and you want him to go to a different position, just reposition him at the initial position, re-rotate him at the initial position, and then reapply the root motion there, okay? So we're going to go to the very end of this clip here. We're going to apply another one, and this one is strafe right. Okay, so strafe right is down here, and this is strafe right end, I believe. We'll find it right here. Yeah, hold gun, strafe right end. Okay, so I'm going to apply that one right there, and you can see our character will go into a kind of a crouch position, and then he will strafe to the right here out from behind the Humvee. I hope. Okay, if we got our positions correct. There you go. Okay. Or we can have strafe right. I think it was loop maybe before we do that. Let's go ahead and just apply that same one. And yeah, strafe right. Where is it here? Oh, start. Okay, we'll do the start one. Okay, so there you go. And he will pop out like this. And then he only takes 2 steps, and then we apply the end one. But we're not going to apply the end one just yet, okay? Because what I want my character to do is I want to kind of change the movement, the destination of the movement here, okay? So I'm just going to hold Alt and scroll my mouse key to zoom out a little bit. So he's going to move from this position here to this position, okay? Kind of a little bit backwards. Say, for example, instead of moving backwards towards the left side of our screen here, we wanted him to move a little bit forward towards the right side, so he's a bit closer to the Humvee. Well, what I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to just go ahead and double click in the transform track at the very first frame of my clip. Okay, very important. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is at the very last frame of the clip, I'm going to position him and rotate him to the preferred ending position that I want him to be in. Okay, so right here, I'm going to move him a little bit forward like this, and we'll rotate him as well using the E hotkey and have him kind of pointing a little bit more forward like this, okay? So it looks like he's being a bit more sneaky as opposed to moving in the wrong direction there, okay? Something like that I think will be okay. Now the problem that occurs is the same thing you saw before with the foot sliding, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to correct the foot sliding in a pretty simple way, okay? The most accurate way to correct it. Again, so if I play back really quickly here, you'll see him slide like this, okay? And it doesn't look good. So the first thing I need to do is at the first frame here, you need to concentrate on when the character is taking steps, okay? So which foot is planted and which foot is moving, okay? So right now, from this frame here, which is frame 152, to about frame 245 or something like that, the character is not even moving, but we have the transform position changed. So what I want to do here is at maybe frame 230, I want to right click on that keyframe, the first keyframe, and copy it and go back to frame 230 here and just paste it, okay? So we don't want him actually changing his transform position until that point. So he'll just stay here and then he'll start to move, okay? Or it should be a little bit further down, I guess. Oh yeah, whoops, I pasted it way down here. Okay. Did I paste that? Wait a second. Oh yeah, okay, so I need to copy and paste this. I believe I did that. Copy. And don't move until this point. We just paste it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so from here to here, he's not going to be moving. And then he's going to take his first step, which is, yeah, okay, there we go. Weird. Oh, it's because the timeline, I see. Project length slider. Okay, so here he's going to stay in position. So again, we'll just double click here, and then I think I might have just deleted the final position we want our character to be in accidentally. All right, well, let's just reposition him. There we go. And rotate. Okay, that should work. Okay, so there you see the sliding that we don't want, okay? So I'm going to move him a little bit further back into position. Okay, so he's just kind of peeking around the Humvee just very quick, very subtly. Okay, so from here to here, we need to make sure that that sliding doesn't happen, okay? And the way to do that is you need to bring in a little prop, okay? We're going to have to go through quickly here since we're running out of time. I'm going to just use a 3D block. I normally just use a little sphere here. Okay, and bring it in. I'm going to press the R hotkey and scale it down, just so it's about the same size as my character's heel. And then I'm going to place it at the frame here where the left foot, okay, at my character's left foot, because that's the foot that's currently planted. All right, so I'm going to just press the W hotkey and plant it right here. Okay. Right on my character's ankle, and then just right click and remove that animation since we don't want to have any animation on that. So basically what happens is you'll see the right foot or the left foot sliding on the character there, okay, from here to here. And we don't want that. We want that foot to remain stationary until it lifts off the ground, basically. Okay, so from here to here, this is where the foot is lifting off the ground. We need to take our character and bring him back so the ankle is aligned with that little ball there, okay? So then what's going to happen is from here to here, we have him remaining right there. So the foot sliding is gone, okay? And then when the right foot is planted, we're going to move that ball to the right foot, okay? So whichever foot is planted, you want to move that ball to that foot, okay? So where the right foot lands right here, then we're going to take that ball, click it, and move it over to the right foot, the ankle here. It appears that his feet are popping through his shoes there. And then just right click and remove the animation again, just so you have it in position. And with the character selected, then we're going to go through here. And you can see the sliding right there. So again, we want that foot to remain stationary in that position until the left foot lands, which is right here. Okay. So then what we do is we take him back like this. And we can rotate it slightly. You know, you can get away with a little bit of rotation without worrying, without you know, doing too much damage in terms of sliding. Okay, so then we have this here, and then again, of course, from here to here, we don't want that to happen. So we have to have him in the same position, basically at the very end, we want him in the same position. So I can actually just copy and paste this keyframe right here, and put up like that. Okay. So that's basically the easy way to prevent foot sliding. And however many steps your character is taking, you just repeat that process, kind of like this. So now we have like that, okay? And we've avoided that foot sliding situation. And we've kind of repositioned his, where he's supposed to be landing here. Let's just make sure that, yeah. Okay, good enough. All right, and this, there we go. Okay, that should be good. All right. Should we Control Z that? There we go. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the end motion on that. So we have the strafe start and the strafe end. And I'm going to have to go really quickly through the facial animation part here. So animation here and move and the strafe hold end. Okay. And so then our character will end his strafe just like this. Okay. And now he's in a different position, kind of closer to the Humvee and closer to the side, which is kind of what we wanted. All right. So that's kind of the best way to avoid foot sliding on your character. What I'm going to do is really quickly go through some facial animation here in the next 5 minutes or so, and then we'll get to the Q&A right after that, okay? Just kind of to go through the summary here of facial animation. We won't save that project. And I'm going to be using facial mocap, so you'll see my ugly mug here in just a moment here. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to be using Face Puppet before we use the facial mocap. just a quick and easy way to apply motion to your character, and it's really quick and easy way to get emotion on the face. Okay, so what we have here is we have a project where there's like, a conversation going back and forth between two characters. There's no animation applied yet because we're going to apply the animation ourselves. All right, so it's basically just this kind of soap opera scene where we have this beautiful Beverly Hills mansion, and the two main characters talking to each other. So the female character, I'm just going to bring up the script really quick. It's a really stupid script, but it's just maybe he's sleeping with his sister or something. So her first line is, "Oh, Wilfred, say it isn't so. Are the rumors true?" So what we're going to do is we're going to apply. I have an audio file already recorded of that for her. Okay. So with the character selected, go up to the emotion tab here, animation tab, and just create script. Okay. This is an easy way to do this. I'm going to use an audio file, and the audio is debutante 01. Okay. And they'll apply to her.
"Oh, Wilfred, say it isn't so. Are the rumors
true? Really cheesy. That's actually my voice pitched up because I couldn't find a female voice actor in time. So yeah, apologies for that.
"Oh, Wilfred, say it isn't so. Are the rumors true?"
So basically that's it, but she looks rather unemotional. So what we can do is really quickly and easily add some emotion to her face by using the facial puppet tool. Okay, so face puppet right here. Okay, a lot of you are probably familiar with this tool, but I just want to go through it briefly for those who may not be. Okay, we'll just use Jade's facial animation profile right here, and sad, right? And preview. You can see here, we move our mouse around, we can give her a sad face. We can increase the expression strength by doing this, the slider over here, and make it appear even more sad. Okay. Now, what you may want to do in this case, since you don't want the character's head rotating in some weird way for no reason, you can deselect the rotation head orientation here on our little reference image here and press preview, and then you can see right here. Okay, so that's a little bit strong, of course, but you can tone down the strength to maybe a value of 2. And then once you're ready to record, we'll actually take the eyeballs off as well because we're going to have our character look at each other. Okay, so just double click click twice on the eyeballs to get them removed. And then if we preview like this, okay, we can create some, very interesting. I'm just going to record. Okay.
"Oh, Wilfred, say it isn't so."
Okay, so if I play that back really quick and easy.
"Is true."
We can record that, and we can erase
"Oh,
all
Wilfred,
the stuff here. So clear everything. And only use the head orientation top of the expression. I find this way is a little bit easier, just to add a bit more natural head movement. Okay, so make sure you have blend data on next recording selected and press record.
"Oh, Wilfred, say it isn't so.
Okay,
are the rumors
just
true?"
a little bit of natural looking nodding and stuff.
"Oh, Wilfred, say it isn't so. Are the rumors true?"
You can just have character selected and go over here to look at camera. Okay. And then no matter where your camera is, like this.
"Say it isn't so."
Okay, so again, that's like less than 5 minutes of animation. You can get some really decent looking results just by quickly doing that. Now, what I'm going to do for Wilfred here, we're going to have Wilfred respond. Actually, we'll have her look at Wilfred. So right now she's looking at the camera. So we'll have her pick target here for the look at camera and pick good old Wilfred's fat head there. Okay. And so then Wilfred's going to be replying to, I forget what we named her, Margaret or Sylvia or something. Anyway, so he's going to be responding to her. Okay. So I'm going to move my project link slider like this. And what I'm going to do now is just do some quick and dirty facial animation and lip sync. This will take probably 5 minutes or so. So again, this is using the real time for iClone. This is Faceware, so all you really need is a webcam here, and you're going to see me in the storage room of our little office here. So we have a bunch of like boxes in the back that we tried to cover up, but that's my face. Terrible lighting right now, but it's good enough for what we're doing right now. You can see all the outlines are kind of following my facial features, and that's the most important. Okay, generally you want some more even lighting on the face. You don't want it coming from the one side, but that's about it. You want to say hi? No, I'm just kidding. Shife. Okay. Wow, that's his hand. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is make sure we're in a neutral pose. And there's tutorials that go into more detail on this as well. I can answer any questions as well later. So calibrate neutral pose down here in the bottom left. Look directly at the camera. And there we go, all calibrated. Okay, and I'm going to go into iClone now. We're going to go up to plugins and Motion Live plugin. We are going to select Faceware Real Time. Make sure that Wilfred is selected here for the face and select Faceware Real Time for that. And then if we go ahead and preview, just like this. Hello. We can make him look really suave and handsome. Okay, you can see, oh, this guy looks so arrogant. Okay, anyways, what? Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to record my voice. So we need to make sure that we'll stop the preview for now. We need to make sure we go over here to record audio for Visine track. And what that's going to do is that's going to we have our project one in there. And you have the right microphone selected. I'm going to basically re-record this and reapply it. I'm going to show you the reason for that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and just make sure we're calibrated one more time here. Okay, and then I'm going to use the script. What do you say again? It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister, Patricia, for the last year. Okay, drama. Okay, so we'll go ahead and record it. It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister, Patricia, for the last year. Okay. All right, so we have a little bit of animation there. Okay. If I go into the timeline, that's just my quick and dirty facial animation here. We'll close down the Motion Live. I'm going to press F3 and go into the timeline. Wilfred is selected. We're going to go into Wilfred's Visine track here and expression track. Okay, these are the two that you use for facial animation in general. I'm going to deselect the motion, all those other tracks here. The Visine track. Okay, if we open that, you can see it created a Visine track right here. Now, when you use the lip sync option with the facial mocap, all these keys here are basically going to be useless. Okay, you're not going to be using these keys. They're just automatically generated. The puppet clip here in the expression is the one that's the main one for facial expression or for facial animation. Okay, it's true. So if I just go ahead and play it back really quickly here. It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year. Oh, I mean, my voice, I spoke a little bit too fast. Generally, you want to speak like a little bit slower and stronger with stronger mouth expressions. But for facial motion capture, I find that, honestly, sometimes a lot of the time you'll have to do manual lip sync, refine it at least a little bit. So what I'm going to do here, the best way to do this is I'm going to open up this little free program here called Audacity, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to record our system audio here. So I'm going to go to Windows Wasabi there, and for our microphone, we're going to use the our Realtek, whatever it's called there. Okay, now if I record and I play back on my iClone here. It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year. We need to. Okay, let's just. It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year. Maybe. Oops. It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year. It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year. It's true, Margaret. So basically what you want to do here is you want to record the system audio, and the settings, I believe, should be, this is a new microphone that I just got here, so I'm not really sure what, it should be speakers. This should be it. Let's see if we can get this, this should be it. That records. Let's direct. Oh, maybe this one will be it here. Hello. Nope. Gosh. All right, we'll try and get back to this a bit later. But anyways, what you want to do is you want to record your system audio here, and once you record the system audio, then you want to basically reapply that system audio to your character's track here. So let's just pretend we have that recorded. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this audio right here. And I'm going to just kind of basically reapply what we just have right here to the character. I have the audio already saved as an audio file, but just say we went through that process of recording. I'll find the actual settings a little bit later on here. As we move along, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete this clip right here. So again, now we have this. We have the nothing's changed again because like I mentioned, all the data is saved in the Puppet clip. But what we can do is we can reapply that audio to our character. So if we select the character and go over here to animation, I can go over here to create script, and I'm going to use an audio file. I can also record my voice again if I want, but again, you want to use the same audio that you would have recorded with Audacity there. You want to have the same audio in order to make it sync perfectly. Okay, so I'm just going to use an audio file here, and it won't sync perfectly, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyways, just to show you here. Okay, so now this audio here is from an audio file that I recorded through that process I was trying to show you there. Okay, and it's not going to be saying the same thing, but I'm just going to show you the process here anyways. So now we have the lip sync is a little bit better. You can see there's a bit more. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play this back.
It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year. I'm leaving you,
that one's a bit
and we're taking off together.
Get the point there. Now, if your lip sync is a little bit too complicated, again, there's lots of lip sync options, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you before you move on to the Q&A. Right-click on the audio file track here, and you can reduce lip keys. If you feel it's too complicated, you can reduce the amount of lip keys. You can do that once. You can do it twice, and it won't make much of a difference the second time around. But that's the first way to get rid of lip sync that's too complicated. The automatic lip sync. You can also right-click and go to lip options here, and you can have the clip strength. So you can have the viseme strength of your lips stronger or lesser here. Now, if I go to maybe a different clip strength, we should be able to apply that like this to 1.5, and you can see the lip strength will change. If I go to like 0 or maybe 0.3, for example, and apply that again, it's going to be barely any lip strength. Okay, so it's going to be very, very subtle. If we take that again to 1.5 and apply it, lip strength is going to be a lot more exaggerated. Like stuff like this, very exaggerated lip. Okay, so I just go ahead and play that back.
It's true, Margaret. I've been having an affair with your sister Patricia for the last year.
Let's go ahead and use that. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to show you guys. And again, we're going to focus more on Q&A for the rest of this webinar here. So we have a good half an hour to answer your questions. Any questions that you might have, put those in the question panel, not in the chat window, by the way. My chat window is not even popping up for some reason. So let's go ahead and start answering the questions here. And again, we have the big manual guy, Shife, on hand here, and we're going to get all the questions answered that we can. Okay, so first one is from Mr. Jonathan Webb saying, what would you recommend for iRay render settings in sample iterations and max seconds when rendering his image sequence in MP4? iRay render is kind of a little bit off topic for this particular webinar, but in terms of sample iterations and max seconds, I guess, it really all depends on your video card. Certain video cards are going to be better at handling this than others. So I can't really give you a specific answer with that, Jonathan, without knowing a bit more about your system requirements. If you're working with, something a little bit lower, like a GTX 1060 or something like that, then you want to take down the max seconds a little bit. Again, when rendering as an image sequence in MP4, again, the higher the max seconds, the better quality your render is going to be. So it's really difficult to answer this question specifically with knowing a bit more about your system, what you have there. And it's a very time-intensive thing to kind of figure that out. And each system is going to be different. So I can't really give you a specific answer on that without kind of being there and knowing more about your system there, John. So sorry about that. But maybe if you want to email me later, you can ask me questions about that, and I'll help you with your iRay questions there. Jonathan also asked here, when rendering with iRay, the hair and eyes separate from the models on the fly on some of their own scenes they're sitting overlooking. Kind of confused with this one here. When rendering with iRay, the hair and eyes separate from the models and fly on their own in some scenes. I think the wording for this one, Jonathan, is a bit confusing to understand. I think what you're talking about is rendering the eyes and hair separately on your characters. If there's some sort of error that occurs when, so maybe if you can clarify that for us, Jonathan. I'm kind of just trying to, I don't want to kind of bumble and see if there's, try to assume I know what you're talking about here, but you can kind of clarify that for us. I'll get to that question when it comes up in the queue here. All right, let's move on to the next one here. For now, Kwan Yi Hu is asking, I have a character made in iClone 7 that I want to turn it around, and I cannot find the motion that would enable me to do so. I have motions that come from city life. Motions, turning around motions. What I can actually really recommend for a lot of you guys, and maybe some of you have not even seen these tutorials or these webinars we've done in the past, but Mixamo actually has a few turning around motions. If you have an Adobe membership, like even just buy Photoshop, like for $9 a month or something, you can have access to Mixamo's entire library of motions for free. Okay, so there's hundreds and hundreds of motions here. Highly recommend that. And obviously, there's probably some content packs that we have that have turnaround motions. Oh, they logged this out. All right. Nope. Man, Creative Cloud is so fun. All right. So yeah, you'll have to log into your Mixamo account using your Adobe ID. Okay. And once it loads up, you can just go ahead and search under like a turn for example. And so there's here, you can see there's right turn, left turn, turning right, drunk turn, rifle turn. Okay, so tons of different turns here as it loads up. Kind of lagging a bit on the, see the drunk turn. Kind of curious about this one. Okay, that's a pretty cool turn. So again, there's tons of turns on Mixamo, a bunch more here for different characters. I'll do the process really quickly to bring this into your character in iClone since it's really fast and easy. Just go over here and download that. Okay, doesn't really matter with skin or without skin. Let's go ahead and download it at 30 frames a second, and it'll download an FBX file Let's close my face down for now since we want to save some resources. And we're going to go into 3D Exchange. So 3D Exchange is the software that allows you to convert any sort of BVH, FBX files to apply those motions to your character in iClone. Okay, so let's find that file there. Is that my chat window? I hope so. Okay, drunkturn.fbx. So we'll show it in the folder here, and we can just basically click and drag that into 3D Exchange once we've taken out this window here. All right, drunk turn. Okay, so bring it in. Just go ahead and press OK. And what's going to happen is that 3D Exchange is going to recognize this as automatically as a Mixamo character, a Mixamo rig, and it's automatically going to do all the retargeting. So just press yes, yes, OK, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you'll see it right here. And it will appear in your motion library over here. You can just double click it, and you can see it applied in 3D Exchange. So from that point, what you want to do is just go up to export to iClone here, okay, on the top left. And also use the Control-E hotkey. We don't want the geometry, okay? We just want the animation, okay? We'll export to our default folder for now. And just go ahead and press OK. And that's going to successfully export. And let's apply the drunk turn to Wilfred here, since he looks like a drunk anyways with his eyes. Okay, we'll close it down and just let's zoom out a little bit here. So Wilfred, and we'll find the animation over here under the animation tab, under custom, and under motion. There's our drunk turn. Okay, so I think it's this one here. He's like, I've had it with you, Patricia. And he's all drunk and just turning away like this. Okay, so that's the drunk turn. It's pretty funny with this character. Anyway, so that's how you can do that. Let's go on to the next question there. So hopefully that answered your question there. We have to load up my Q&A panel here again. Okay, question from Mark here. Let me start out by saying I love your products. Thank you, Mark. We love you too. Biggest problem is I create such large projects with so many assets. I get bogged down and slowed down. And so everything gets really sluggish. Any suggestions on tips for keeping along? What I recommend is to for carrots is the selected triangle. You can see he's not bad. He's only about 68,000 polygons for Wilfred there, and Patricia, pretty simple like as characters will be very high poly, and they'll have a lot of textures on them. So what you can do is in character creator, there's a number of different processes here, and I'll actually show you. Let's go to the product page for iClone here. Highly recommend, if you guys don't know by any chance, go to the iClone page here, or actually this one will be character creator. And there's a whole like learning center for character creator and some videos that I recently released. I think I'd probably just connect you up with these tutorials here instead of going through the whole process, but I'll show you where you can find it in character creator here. So learn and support, you can go to tutorials here. And there's some ones that were recently launched here. So these ones are basically exactly what you're looking for, Mark. These three ones here that I just finished, consolidating material, share textures. So these are particular, we use a DAZ character for this one, and we basically merge all the materials together for different meshes that use the same material. So it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it saves a ton of resources, especially when you're bringing your character into Unreal. You want to minimize the amount of materials that you have. So that all the characters, all the meshes are referencing the same material as opposed to different materials. This one here, optimizing the characters. This is using InstaLOD, showing you how to convert your character to a game base. Okay, let's take a character here from a project, for example here. Let's go to like these Doomsday Survivor packs here. Oh, need to be clothed. Which ones are pretty high? Assassins are pretty high, right? Yeah. Okay, so we'll show the I'll show you an assassin here and the selected triangle and how much we can reduce it by using the switch to game mode here. Okay, well, not that bad. It's like 59,000. Okay, but what you can do is you can take your character. Oh, it's CC1. It needs to be CC3 to convert to a game base. Okay, so game base is a feature with character creator pipeline that allows you to reduce the amount of resources used by your character. So once we've converted this to CC3, oh, this might take a while. Should just brought in a CC3 character. Anyways, game base is one of the things. What I'm going to tell you right now, Mark, well, that's kind of going in the background there, is auto LOD setup right here. These 3 tutorials and the Learning Center. I'll paste this in the chat window for you guys. Down here. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's the Q&A window. Here's the chat window here. Okay. And very essential tutorials there for learning to save resources. Okay, so Peter says, I think it would be really handy to have the ability to only select one single object in the main window when it's attached in a hierarchy. I think the Q hotkey kind of does that, doesn't it? Generally, I think for Peter, if you have a hierarchy of objects selected, this scene, for example. Okay, this is a bad example, but let's take a look at Wilfred. We're using him as our dummy today. So Wilfred has hair, obviously, and Wilfred has a hierarchy. As you can see here, he looks drunk too. If we wanted to select his hair mesh, we can just double click on there and it selects it. Okay. Another way, I think, is if you press the Q hotkey and select it. No, I think it's just double click now. It used to be Q. So if we select the hair, double click it. The eyes you can select by double clicking the eyes, like that. Okay. The teeth can also be selected. You have to make sure the mouse is over top of them, though. That's a bit more difficult one to select. No, that's not there. Okay. So basically, double clicking on something will allow you to select it regardless of whether or not it's part of a hierarchy. Oh, we converted our character there. Okay, so back to the previous one here. So you can see the select triangle 64,000. If we convert this character to a game base here on the top right, that's going to take our character down. We change our max texture size to like 1024, for example. Use a single material as opposed to multi-material and convert. You're going to see a very minimal reduction in the quality of the character from particular distances. But you're going to see a very significant reduction in selected triangles and all that stuff. All right, so while this is baking in the background, we'll move on to the next question here. Let's find our Q&A window again. So hopefully that answered your question there for Peter. Mark asks here, another question is about collaboration. Is there a way to share a project with another user for them to help do the animation of the characters without us both having to own all the assets in the project and not get watermarked? Work collaborative with somebody is each copy that you every time you buy iClone or any software, for example, you're allowed to install on 2 separate computers. So, and you're allowed to change which computers you have installed on 2 of your own computers, and you want to work collaboratively on a project with somebody else. What you can do is you can go to your back end in your Reallusion account, and you can check the registration. I won't go into my back end because there's other stuff in there. But Mark, if you wanted to contact me, I can kind of show you some screen captures about where you can find that. And you can just install basically on 2 separate computers at all times simultaneously. So that's the best way to share a project with collaborate with others. Anthony asks, will there be updated SketchUp support? Any idea about this? Chief is a bit closer with the product team, so he kind of knows a bit more. Nothing really. Nothing in the pipeline right now. But again, we are always working on improving our support for various platforms. And I think SketchUp is definitely one of those that we've worked with in the past and will continue to work with in the future to provide the best level of support we can for SketchUp users. So sorry for the non-answer there, Anthony, but that's what we know at this point. Okay, so anonymous attendee has a few questions. Number one is, I'm using iClone Unreal Live Link plugin. Can we use the lip sync feature in iClone and iMotion to synchronize the audio with the lips in the live stream? Okay, let me rewind that a little bit. Can we use lip sync feature in iMotion to synchronize the audio with the lips in the live stream and link them to the Unreal Engine with facial expressions? Well, that's a kind of a complex question there. But I mean, anything that you're doing in iClone will be, mirrored in Unreal with the live link. So you, yeah, everything would be done in iClone. I'm not sure if you're talking about audio in Unreal.
No audio.
To synchronize the audio, no audio. Okay.
No. Only the facial expressions would pass through.
Oh, okay. So yeah, synchronizing the audio with Unreal. Yeah. So unfortunately, right now there's no audio sync from iClone to Unreal. It's only the motion. Okay. So only animations. We don't sync the audio right now. I think that's what you're getting at there. So unfortunately, that's not an option, audio sync yet, because that gets a bit more complicated. Second question: can I animate an avatar, iClone avatar's hands from the Unreal Engine using IK? Yeah, definitely. I mean, iClone characters have skeletons and hand bones, so you can use Unreal Engine motion tools as well as our motion tools. Both are okay. You can select them and move them in Unreal again, but you're going to have to use the Unreal tools. So I think the third question is kind of a reiteration of the first question. Can we live stream the audio from iClone to Unreal Engine? Unfortunately, not at this point. And the last question here, what is the best way to post our questions related to iClone Unreal Live Link plugin? I can refer you guys all to the forums. The forums are a really good way to share information with all of our users. We have a ton of people on there that are always answering questions, asking questions. It's basically our community of users that a lot of people with a bit more time on their hands, some of them that are more than happy to answer questions from you guys. I think if we go to the iClone here, it should be maybe somewhere in here. It would be under plugin developer, or would it be plugins probably? So Unreal Live Link right here. Just click on that, and there'll be a bunch of questions and topics here. So just a bunch of stuff that people are asking, and you can get your questions answered here. Also, our development team peruses these forums occasionally, fairly often, and we develop new features. A lot of new features we develop are based on feedback that we get from the forums. So I highly recommend checking out the forums and registering and participating as much as you can, because you're going to get the best results that way. Chat window here. Okay, I'm gonna post the link for this particular Unreal Live Link forum here in the chat window there for you guys. Okay. Question from Andres here. How can I release one hand from the reach target in the timeline and then reach it again? Okay, good question from Andres here. And what I'm going to do is go back into iClone first of all. Let's have drunken Wilfred here. maybe we can use Patricia's face as a reach target. If we select him here and edit reach target, let's put a reach effector on the his right hand there. Okay, and then we'll take that reach effector here and and press the W hotkey and move it up like this to her face. Like, here, darling. Okay. So maybe he's using a backhand slap or something like that. But what we would do here is the reach target, again, dummy for the right hand here. We would go to the pick the parent for that one. Okay, so pick parent, hand for her head, for example. And then if we press F3 and go into our timeline, this is the dummy for the right hand. So we need to go here to, what is it here? Constraint, yeah? Constraints, haven't really done this in a while. So right now we have a constraint on this frame right here. It's not in constraint, no. It's constraint, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so it's a constraint here, but it's under transform. The dummy. Is it a dummy or the hand? The character, maybe? We want to see the constraint for the character.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so Wilfred constraint. And, yeah, weird. Appearing here. Should be the dummy. Okay, well, it's showing on the transform anyways. And it should be showing up. We did pick the parent for the head. Odd, it should be showing up in the constraint track here. Let's close that down. Well, it's the dummy is attached to the.
You won't see anything on timeline.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, the reach. I haven't done this reach and effector stuff or reach effector stuff for so long. So okay, it is attached and to the character's head. If you want to unattach that at some point, you can unattach it the same way. But I think what I want to do here is going to target here. Mm-hmm. And if we changed it to something, right?
Release it.
Yeah, just release it at some point. Then it should appear, I believe. Okay, and that should be that'd be under the reach dummy. Right hand. Yeah, it'd be under this reach dummy here.
He's talking about reaching, releasing, and reaching again, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to make it complicated. Just we don't have to use the reach effector. We just simply use the reach target and release.
Yeah, I guess you can just reach the target and release. That would be the easiest way. So reach target. Maybe here, for example, I'm just trying to figure out where it is in the timeline. Here it would be, we would select it and we can use this and attach to her face.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't connect there. Let's try and attach to something else. Okay, so it's attached to the target there. And then here we would just release it.
Yeah.
Okay, so from here, but where's that on the timeline again? Oh, reach. Ah. Okay, found it. See, even timeline can be complicated for old hats like us sometimes. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. This is what I wanted to find, the part of the timeline here. So it's under your character. I was looking under the dummy. So under the character, Wilfred, it's the reach track right here, okay? So this will show you when your reach is enabled. So this little line here, you'll see when it's enabled, and when it's disconnected here, right there. Okay, and you can take these keyframes and move them as much as you want through the timeline just by clicking and dragging. Okay, just like this, and there you go. All right, so that's how you release and how you find the release and lock targets for the reach effectors there. All right, sorry about that. All right, so hopefully that helps you there, Andres. Joseph asks here, can someone help me creating a large environment scene in iClone 7? Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many different ways to do that. The easiest way, if it's an outdoor scene, I mean, we have some embedded stuff like those big scenes under here, under stage, 3D scene, height map large. Okay, so these are basically just big scenes. If I double click on the butte here, it'll just kind of give us a huge, scene like this. These are good starting points for big outdoor scenes. These maps right here. And if you go into the scene manager here, it'll just be as terrain, right? Yeah, terrain. I see the butte right there. You can make it visible or invisible. Terrain is also important when you're using human IK and foot contact and stuff like that. We can talk about that later if you want. But Joseph, I mean, that's the easiest way to create a quick outdoor scene. Use those scenes. Yeah, there's tons of content packs as well. We can recommend that have tons of scenes. I won't go browsing too much right now, but yeah, you can go into the content store and just search for scenes. Content store, relusion.com/content store, and you can go into it'll be an iClone and scene here. So you have 3D scenes. Okay, and in 3D scenes you'll find all kinds of stuff here as well that you can purchase separately. Stuff like this, virtual showrooms, okay, from various developers. All sorts of fun stuff, cartoon levels. Basically everything in this section here of the content store will have a scene that you can apply with a single click. Okay, so everything from, for example, an abandoned manor to a school gym. Okay, and you can kind of browse that on your own time there. I'll just paste this in the chat window there as well. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's for you there, Joseph. And okay, question from Jacobo. One question: how to use ray tracing on iClone using LiveLink with Unreal? Well, we can't really use ray tracing with LiveLink. I don't think all the rendering stuff. If you're using LiveLink, all the shading and rendering and stuff is going to be in Unreal. That stuff isn't really going to transfer over from iClone, since Unreal is slightly better shading, slightly better shaders than iClone. So yeah, using all the Unreal local stuff will just be depend on your settings that you have in Unreal. Hopefully that answers your question there, Jacobo. That won't be anything to do with iClone. That'll be your settings in Unreal, the destination there. Any more detailed questions, you can feel free to ask me as well. But yeah, the ray tracing will involve your project in Unreal. Okay, Mike Kelly, just curious, because I mostly do mocap, would it be possible to use end effectors to help with foot sliding? Link them to that sphere, for example, and then move the sphere as needed. Yeah, I think you can do this. You can do the same thing. Yeah. So what I did is I used the spheres. I brought in like a 3D sphere. You can also use the end effectors for the exact same thing. And
it's gonna take a lot of time because we want to stop the end effect here.
Yeah. So the only difference with that is you're gonna have to like release and start the end effectors. Like I just showed the release and starting of the end effector. So you kind of use the same process, except you're gonna have to release and attach and release and attach the end effector at different points. I mean, it's just as easy and probably just just as fast, I would say, pretty close to the same speed in production.
Also, set transform keys to the end effectors.
Yeah, you can also set transform keys to the end effectors as well. That would be another way to do it. Transform keys to the end effectors, or just releasing and attaching the feet to the end effectors at different points. Those would be the two ways to do that, Mike, to avoid foot sliding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's actually a tutorial that Chris did, stuck on 3D, and that's in the animation curve editor, I believe. So these are the curve editor tutorials here. These ones right here, walking cycles. I think he uses end effectors in this tutorial here. For those of you who are looking for more advanced, stuff on walk cycles and stuff, I'd recommend checking out all of these tutorials here that Chris did for otherwise known as Stuck on 3D. What?
I saw this one.
Yeah. I think it's this number 3 here, using reach effectors for walking. So this is a way that you can use reach effectors to avoid the foot sliding as well. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this this Zoop link in the chat window as well for you guys. And yeah, highly recommend checking those tutorials out, because basically these 6 tutorials are about almost 2 hours of, well, almost 2 hours of tutorial time that obviously I won't be able to go through all that process in this QA webinar, but you can check that out on your own time there. Okay, so Peter Podesser mentions here, I use foot aligning features in the track, right-click the menu. Very handy for getting routes to match the foot from one clip to another. Yeah, that's another way to avoid foot sliding as well. Is when you have your character walking, you can use you can align your motion to the right foot or left foot or something like that. So I'll just show you a brief example here. What Peter is mentioning, and I've used this in the past too. This one, it can be a bit more complicated because you have to break your clips and apply different motions to different, or align the different clips to different body parts. But I'll just do a quick motion puppet here. Let's do a move, an angry walk maybe. She's all grumpy. Yeah, so what you would do is, again, this is an in-place motion here. So right foot is making contact right now. And then here, left foot is making contact. So you would break your clip right here. And then from here, you want to align the clip to the right foot, or left foot in this case. So what you want to do is you want to click on your clip and go to align whole clip to left leg, I believe. Okay, and then now it'll be, your character will now move forward. Okay, so just like this, and you'll see the foot will avoid sliding. And from here, we have the character landing on the right foot right here. Okay, so we want to break the clip right here again, right click and break, and then align the clip to the right leg. That's the right leg, right? Yeah, okay. So it'd be like this. And then now it's aligned to the right leg. And again, same process. You have your character walk forward. Step right here. And break. And then align one more time. Right click. Align whole clip to left leg. Okay, and then it'll move forward like this. So we had a stationary motion, not a root motion, but now we have our character actually walking forward. Okay, so just from here to here, like that. And that's a way you can avoid foot sliding as well. This is the method that Peter Podesser was talking about. And yeah, I mean, for walking cycles, definitely works, and it may be a lot easier for some people as well. Okay, so if you want to take motion and turn it into a root motion, you can kind of do that. All right, hopefully that's clear for you there. Thanks for that, Peter, for reminding me of that method as well. Okay, so Andres asks here, how can I mask body parts during a specific motion? For instance, the walk while holding a gun. I mean, you can remove the motion from certain body parts. So say, for example, let's use this same part here. Moving forward like this. Let's go, for example, let's just use our project slider. From here, oops. From here to here. I didn't want my characters. Okay, there's too much stuff going on here. I'm just gonna right click and remove the object animation. And let's just apply an animation to our character here. Not the drunk turn. How about samba dancing? I think we have a samba dancing one here. Okay. So here's our character doing a samba dance. This is also from Mixamo, by the way. If I wanted to, mask out a certain part of the body, I mean, you could remove the animate, right click and select remove motion. And you can remove the motion from the head, for example. So if we wanted the head kind of facing the same direction all the time towards the character's right, we can do that. And so she's kind of always facing her head to the right. If we undid that, I think we have to undo it twice. Okay, so now you can see her head slightly tilted, and now it's to the left. Okay, but if we didn't do that, or if we remove the motion from the head, it'll always be okay. Again, make sure you do this at the beginning of the clip or wherever in the clip that you want that motion to, or that body part to stay. Right, for example, the right arm will now be masked and it'll stay in that position like this. So it looks kind of cool. You can kind of customize the dance, I guess. But that's a way you can mask out different body parts. And if you want them to be masked out at different points, again, you're going to have to break the clip at different points. For example, here we can mask out the left arm, and here we'll mask out the right arm, or move out the character's left arm there. So now, okay, so from here to here, left arm is moving, and then here both arms are gone. Okay. So you have to break clips and remove motions at different points in the clips there. That's the best way to remove motions or mask out different body parts. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Anonymous attendee, is there any plan to improve collision? Like if there's a punch animation to avatar, the hand will go inside the character, which doesn't happen in real life. The hand should touch the avatar and bounce back. Yeah, there's tons of ways to avoid that. The best way is probably using the edit motion layer tool to refine, where your character is punching, refine the position. Okay, like say, for example, let's just say this natural motion, the character's hand was inside the body. So we go to edit the motion layer tool. Let's take her right arm and kind of just move it inside her body, for example. Okay, so, oh, good Lord, her hand is stuck in coming out of her stomach. So not something we'd want to do, right? So the way you can adjust that is, again, at the first frame, you'll want to bring it out like this, and you go like here, and maybe here it's a little bit too close to her body again. You want it to be a little bit further out. So again, this is all found, all the edit motion layer tool stuff is found in the motion track here. So we'll just close down everything else to make things simple here. And you can twirl that down. You can see the motion layer tool here. So we made that edit right there. And we would do is right click that, copy it, and paste it over here. And then we can have it changed over here. like this. And then from here to here, she's going to move her arm up like that. And then we can keep that for a certain period of time. And then we can just go back here to reset and take it back to the original value here. Okay, so just a little bit of quick custom animation there. Okay, and just runs through really smoothly. And then if you want, you can right click and you can select flatten the clip, flatten all parts, flatten and keep keys. Flatten all parts will just basically bake all of these animations into the motion clip. So if I flatten that, it's going to bake all those keyframes into the motion clip, and then you can go and do further edits as well after that and continue layering on your keyframe edits there. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Will we ever be able to use the facial expression morphs from DAZ for CC generated characters? Generally with a transformer tool, DAZ, we just generate morphs, facial morphs for the character from character creator. We don't really use the DAZ morphs to my knowledge. Can you use them? 3D Exchange way you can use them? Maybe not. Yeah, 3D Exchange you can use them. Yeah, so if you take your DAZ facial morphs into 3D Exchange, you can do it that way. That's a bit more complicated. If you really want your original DAZ morphs, the way to do that would be through 3D Exchange. But the transformer tool basically applies our general morph templates to the character. Just kind of re-topologizes them, I guess, in a way. Yeah. But yeah, you can do that, anonymous attendee, but you have to use the old 3D Exchange method using the expression editor in 3D Exchange.
But if they use 3D Exchange, the character cannot go to CC.
Yeah, right. So that's a good point. Shife mentioned if you use 3D Exchange method, the character cannot be imported into a character creator. Okay. So the only way DAZ characters can be imported into character creator is through the transformer tool. Okay. Mark asks here, is there a way to decimate the mocap recordings to reduce the data points to make editing easier? Decimate, do you mean decimate the motion file there, Mark? If so, the motion file itself is generally never really that heavy. Motion files are generally fairly light on resources. I mean, you can reduce the length of the motion, would make it smaller, but in terms of decimating the actual motion recording, yeah, I don't think it's not really a common thing to do. Mostly, what you want to decimate is you want to decimate the character resources. Let's check back on our character and character creator. Okay, so if you can recall, a long time ago when we actually changed this character to a game base, he was 65,000, 68,000 polys. Now he's 48. And the way we can reduce him further, let's just do this in the background, is go up to Insta LOD here and go polygon reduction wearables. Okay, so the wearables are going to be basically everything he's wearing. And we can reduce this by percentage to, like, I don't know. Yeah, let's leave it at 50. Okay, it'll take it down by 50 roughly. And big text more. I think we already did that, but did we do that?
No, it's for character, the new character.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right now,
the clothing, right? Yeah, the clothing. Take a few minutes. We'll come back. We'll do other questions. I thought we did that already. Oh, scabbard. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's just a separate whatever. Okay, let's move on to the next question while we're doing that. Oops, distracted there. Okay, so another question from Mark. I've been using voice actors for several projects. Some of them have iPhone 10s. Is it possible for them to record performances with the iPhone Faceware software and send me the facial animation performances. Do I need to buy multiple copies for the iPhone apps? So I think he's talking about if you, so the voice actors have the iPhones, they want to do the facial capture for their voice performances at the same time. Yeah, they would need their own copy of iClone to do that, because the animations are recorded into iClone. That's the only way they can be recorded. The app on the Apple App Store is just an app that basically allows for the transmission of the motion capture data to iClone. iClone is where the motion is captured and stored and recorded, actually. But the app is not going to be able to do that. So they would need to purchase their own copy of iClone and save their facial animation, unfortunately, there, Mark. Yeah, it'd be nice if every voice actor could just do and record their face on their iPhones. I mean, they can use that, what's the Animoji? You can use the Animoji to do a live, they can text message you that Animoji, and you can compare that Animoji to, the facial expressions that you want, but that would be a workaround. And that would be pretty time intensive, I think. Mm-hmm. Okay. Andre has asked a question here. Is WAV audio format already supported in iClone for Visime?
We always supported WAV.
Yeah, we've always supported WAV. I think he's maybe mentioning when it's recorded in iClone.
Record WAV?
Yeah, like if you wanted to export it from iClone as a WAV file.
Or export WAV.
Yeah.
It is before, right now, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we have export of WAV. Yeah, let's try to find out. Oops, nope. Render video, export audio. Yeah, so we have export WAV files. Okay. I probably could have just exported the WAV file from that thing I was trying to do before, as opposed to trying to do it all through Audacity. But I just try, these darn samples, and then the change in microphone kind of screwed me up. I just kind of couldn't figure out the audio settings for that. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, you can also export the audio from here as well, and you can set the frame range as well. So I could have just exported the frame range from this to this, and re-imported that audio file.
He's talking about
onto my character. Sorry.
He's talking about Visime.
Yeah, Visime. Yeah.
Import WAV.
Yeah, you can import export WAV. Yeah. We support the WAV, dude. All right. So next question here. Does lip syncing work in the preview mode? From anonymous attendee. Lip sync work in preview mode. Well, for motion capture, it does. You can preview your facial motion capture lip sync. But once you apply an audio file, I mean, there's no preview for that. It just applies it. Mm-hmm. The only preview mode for lip sync would be with your facial mocap there. Okay, so Subdiacon, are there pre-made facial motions to buy in the content store? I don't know. Facial animations in the content store? I think we have a few, right?
Facial expressions.
Facial. So we go to actor or iClone motion under head. No, it's beyond motion. They're always updating the content store with new content constantly. So maybe I'm not super updated on the latest cool trends, all the stuff that all the kids are buying these days in the content store. Yeah, maybe it's needs a refresh. All right, so you would find the facial animations in here. I mean, I know there's definitely some that have body and facial combined. Like I'm not sure about the facial animations. Suave and Charming, doesn't that have facial with it? I think Suave and Charming does. It's old school. And it's some of the older stuff here. Mm-hmm. Good old Chuck. Yeah. Motion plus? Is there any motion? No, I guess facial animation. No, I guess not. I mean, I've never really paid attention to it. I'm pretty sure there's facial animation somewhere. Maybe I'm just not finding it. It's probably there's a lot in Crazy Talk, I think, but maybe not. Oh.
iClone.
Yeah, iClone. I went to motion, actor, symmetry. Huh. It would be in motion, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be in head, would it? No, head would just be the heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. It seems like there's not. Well, if we do have any, it's pretty. So yeah, I mean, maybe you can publish some yourself. For those interested, you call some of those in the marketplace. I'm not even sure. Well, that's a trip. The new estimated time of arrival on the new shaders, skin shaders that we were talking about the other day. Yeah, we're working on it. It'll be out momentarily. Yeah, there's a release schedule, but it's in the near future. I can tell you, Chris, at this point. But it is under construction right now, and coming out very soon. Okay, so next question from Chris is: Will there be a Unity plugin comparable to the Live Link for Unreal? That's also something we've talking about, yeah, and that is a possibility in the near future as well. There's a lot of demand for this, so whenever there's a lot of demand for something, like you just mentioned the Unity Live Link, for example, we're dedicated to trying to provide that for our users. And there's some working parts that need to be put into place. But yeah, it's something that we are working towards in the future there. Yeah, it also depends on Unity too. If Unity is, yeah, they need to create something like Live Link for Unreal. And then we'll be able to kind of work a little bit closer with them on that, I think. That's all I'll say about that for now. Peter mentions if you have an Apple ID, Mixamo is also available. Is that real? Is that true? An Apple ID? Okay, I mean, I'll have to confirm this, but Peter's mentioning here if you have an Apple ID, you can also use Mixamo. This I did not know, but if that's true, that's really cool. If it's not, a lot of people are going to hate you, Peter. No, I'm just kidding. You can just try it out. If you have an Apple ID, go ahead and try it out. I have an Apple ID myself, so maybe I'll get another account. But thanks for that heads up there, Peter, for that. Okay, Gary asks here, when would I need to go through 3D Exchange instead of direct export to FBX? I know exporting Alembic files, if you're exporting like Alembic files with physics and stuff, you need to you go through 3D Exchange for that. Any other reason why you wouldn't use Character Creator? Well, obviously, if it's a custom character, like a custom rig, you have to go through 3D Exchange. More of the complicated characters, you need to go through 3D Exchange because it just has more comprehensive tools. Character Creator 3 is more focused on specific characters like, well, the iClone characters, the iClone default characters, as well as DAZ and poser characters using the transformer tool. But anything beyond that, generally you'll need to use 3D Exchange. Like custom biped characters, you have to manually retarget the bones. Yeah. Generally, that would be my answer there, Gary. Also, of course, using Alembic files for export of physics, soft cloth physics, and all that stuff.
Or maybe prop animation.
Yeah, prop animation for sure. Yeah, prop animation, you 3D exchange. We have FBX. Yeah, animation, anything 3D exchange for sure. Yeah. Okay, Kurt asks, I put in a request on the feedback tracker about adding support for soft body physics determined by character weight maps. Is that something that's been talked about to add perhaps to iClone 8? Soft body physics determined by character weight maps. Oh, okay. Have we been talking about that? So the soft body physics will react, the clothing will react to the character weight maps instead. This, I think we're not sure about that, and I'm not sure if that's a feature, but I have seen that. I have seen that in other software, and it has been fairly comprehensive. And it allows for a bit more of a detailed interaction between, character mesh and clothing mesh. But in terms of adding it to iClone 8, no comment right now, I guess.
But soft body physics currently is determined by the weight map.
Yeah, currently determined by weight map on the cloth.
Yeah.
He's talking about weight map on the character.
But he's talking about character weight map. I don't know what's that.
I've seen it before. It just kind of helps to refine the interaction.
Body,
yeah.
The body turned to be soft.
No, it's just like kind of like one of those maps that soft body like cloth will kind of hit different parts in different ways, I guess. Yeah. I don't know too much about that, but yeah, no comment on that one. Sorry for that, Kurt. Okay, Subdiacon asks, will there be a way to use animations from Crazy Talk Animator pipeline in iClone? I mean, you can save Crazy Talk script files, like facial animation files, and you can apply those in iClone right now. In terms of body animation, it's two totally different beasts, because Cartoon Animator is going to be 2-dimensional. iClone is 3-dimensional. Now you can apply iClone motions to your G2 characters in Crazy Talk Animator 3, but that's a whole nother can of worms that I don't want to open right now. But in terms of Crazy Talk apps or Crazy Talk software to iClone, yeah, you can save the script files, and you can apply those as facial animations to your characters in iClone.
Hey, why don't you just show them how to import it, the script from?
Oh yeah, I guess you can import a script easily. I'll show you guys quickly how to do that. Let's just let's have her. I like this pose. Let's just keep this pose, but we'll just remove the animation. She looks so suave. So we go over here to create script, okay? And then down here you'll see script file, and script file you need to select one from Crazy Talk. Maybe we'll choose a female one since she's female. Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay. Maybe another one.
No.
Yeah. Not the best lip sync.
I can increase the lips option.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think we still have the lips option kind of at a low value on that for our expression, right? Revising.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, wow, look at all those keyframes.
Awesome.
Okay, that's better.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Anyways,
Awesome.
I mean, you probably want to get more detailed stuff than that, but you can create whatever you want in Crazy Talk Animator, Crazy Talk 8, and import them using script that way. All right. Let's move on to the next question here. Okay, so Sam Schneider here mentions Adobe has discontinued Fuse. It's free 3D character generation software. Yeah, we're familiar with that. Hasn't been updated significantly for some time. It will not be compatible with Mac OS 10.15 when it rolls out later this year, and downloads will be removed entirely in September 2020. Okay, so yeah, if you're looking for to grab the last of the Adobe Fuse characters, from what Sam is mentioning here, you're going to have until September of next year to get all that stuff taken care of. Download all the stuff you need from Adobe Fuse before it's discontinued. So thanks for that, Sam. Thanks for the heads up. Mike Moralejo asks, can you export just a character's clothes from Adobe Fuse and use it with your iClone Character Creator 3 character? Yeah, you just need to use a OBJ format. Export the clothing as an OBJ. However, that would require, depending on the clothing, the original model, the clothing is modeled on, it may not fit. So you have to do some very detailed mesh editing as well. Now we have automatic skinning in Character Creator 3. So when you import an object, it's a single click to skin it to your character's body mesh. But again, a character's clothes, Adobe Fuse character, their clothing their proportions, their mesh, and everything is going to be quite different. So you may have an issue with that. Ideally, what you'd want to do is use the original Character Creator 3 base character to model all your clothing off of, and then take that into Fuse and then back out, or whatever program you're using, Marvelous Designer or whatnot. I mean, what I'm saying, Mike, is technically you can do it, but it wouldn't be the ideal workflow because you'd have to spend a lot of time refining the mesh and doing skinning and stuff like that, which would take a long time. Yes, yeah, skin weights for the vertexes. It wouldn't be worth it, in my opinion. I mean, be better off starting with a character, a Character Creator 3 character, and just modeling it on that character in whatever program you're using. All right, so Sam's mentioning grab those animations now. All right, everyone go grab your free animations before time runs out. Limited time only. Okay, so D asks here, why does Leap Motion and the face recording software make animations so choppy? Also, is there any plans to have the ability to make giant characters like Godzilla, Jack, and Beanstalk? Okay, so Leap Motion and face recording software together, I haven't had any really issues, really with choppiness on that. Leap Motion's fairly low resource. It's just a very small stream of data that comes in for the hands. You may want to contact customer support, D, if you're having issues with that. They can do some troubleshooting for you. But in my experience, I haven't had any issues recording Leap Motion and Faceware or iPhone 10 at the same time. So you may want to get that checked with customer support. In terms of having plans to make some giant characters, well, Godzilla is technically a biped, I guess, right? Yeah, I mean, giant characters, you can scale all the characters as much as you want. Like, even if your character, if you want to make this guy like huge. All right, so now if you guys remember, probably 20 minutes ago, we were at 40,000 triangles. Now we're at 32. Okay, so we're even further down. And we're gradually getting this guy down further and further. All right. And we can take him down, I think, what the last one would be remesher, right? Did that do anything? Well, when you export him, yeah, into LOD. So you can just go to, yeah, well, remesher would do the same thing. Yeah. Let's just do maybe We'll do 2 levels just to make it faster. Good enough. Okay. We'll get this guy down even further. We're gradually getting him down as we move along here. We'll just call it ESDF, whatever. Let's save this to our desktop, actually. Test. Okay, let's get back to the original question here, which was, oh, giant characters. Okay, so probably I shouldn't have done that. You can scale your characters up in Character Creator 3 to as large a size as you want to get done with. As for iClone 8 coming out, I don't know. It's iClone 8. There's tons of new features in the works. As you guys probably know, this industry right now is advancing super fast. So there's new features coming out all the time, like basically monthly. There's brand new features and useful features coming out. So in terms of iClone 8, again, can't really comment on that at this time. But there's a few more improvements that we want to make in the current version before that one comes out. Okay, so Kurt is asking, is there any fix for the iRay subsurface scattering with opacity for water? Well, the new shader, I guess we can say it has subsurface scattering. Yeah, so the new shader with coming out with iClone here, it's going to be comparable to the Unreal shader. We're refining it, we're working on it, going back and forth. It's going to be really awesome. I've seen work in progress images and videos and stuff, and it looks amazing for the new shader. But specifically for iRay, not sure if, on the development status of that. I can't comment on that, Kurt, unfortunately. But yeah, stay tuned definitely for our new very realistic skin shaders. You're going to be very impressed with those. Huge world of improvement already, and it's only going to get better from here. Lenny asks, I have a problem changing the sky during a scene. So in your scene, Lenny, the sky can be found in the scene manager here. Oops. So we have a sky right now. We can make it visible or invisible. Okay. If you want to change it, we just go to the material over here and change it to whatever map you want.
You have to turn on the IBL.
Turn on the IBL.
The IBL images right now controlling the channel.
Oh, right. So okay. Yeah, you're right.
F7.
Thank goodness you're along for the ride, Sheep.
Press F7. Press F7.
Okay, press F7. Nope.
In the IBL section.
Okay, so I'm pressing F7 to get into the visual. It's a shortcut to the visual tab. And then we're going on to IBL. And at the bottom here, we have Sync Sky Image. Okay, so if we deselect that, then it's going to allow us to change the sky. Okay, so it's frozen now because of because it's synced with the IBL. So now we can change it. If we change it to like, I don't know, this one here. Why not? Whatever that is. It's a front yard. Ooh.
Super blurry.
Yeah, it's super blurry because this is a super low resolution image.
Yeah.
All right, but we can. I think that's like a 512 by 512 image or something like that. But anyways, what you can do is you can then sync it back up. Oh, that'll just do. Okay, that'll if you sync it back up, it'll do the IBL clip or the IBL image.
But they can find the image in the library.
Yeah,
library.
right. You can also just go to like the image. The image and then apply it to the sky.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and do that real quick, actually, just to kind of show the process. Sky. And sky. And You can probably just click and drag it.
No, you have to
You have to apply it.
unlock it.
Oh, I have to unlock it first.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it. All right. So we can just save the IBL and apply it this way. Click and drag it to our diffuse. Should work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Yeah, but it's already the same image right now.
Yeah. Okay, so it's already the same image anyways. Super early in the morning here, guys. Okay, anyways, that's how you can change the sky. Make sure it's unlocked from the IBL. Okay, Michael asks here, when creating a music video, should I drop the music into the scene and then work out the animation and camera switching until the song is complete? In terms of making a music video, the workflow, the best workflow, well, if it's a music video, I mean, everything's focused around the music, right? So dropping the music into the scene would be the first thing, I think, to do. Yeah, you want to have everything focused around the music.
Drag and drop.
Yeah.
The music onto the viewport.
Yeah, you can just drag and drop music onto the viewport as well. I don't think I have any music saved on this computer, but I'm not even sure if I have any audio files.
Any audio files will do.
I don't even have any audio files.
You have.
Oh, maybe I have some in the webinar. Other webinars.
Oh, the conversation, remember.
Which one would it be? iClone 7?
Your sister.
Suspense music. Here we go.
Yeah.
So let's click and drag suspense music into our iClone viewport.
Awesome.
It's like suspense music. And I think, dun, dun, dun.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Pretty good.
So here's the suspense music in the background. She's like, awesome. Okay, anyways, that's how you apply. Yeah, that's how you apply music. Easy way to apply music to your scene. That's in project, I believe, right? Yeah, project under sounds. Yeah, sounds. There's your suspense music right there. Right, you can edit it and do all the other stuff as well. Whatever. Double click it, right? Yeah. Volume, fade in, fade out, or mute it. Cool. Let's not focus too much on that. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question there, Michael. That's what I would do. Obviously, everything has to be built around the music when you're doing a music video. Okay, so Thomas here asks, I have a trouble with some hair that goes right through the character's breasts. Is there an easy solution for that? Well, when it comes to hair going through the character's body mesh, unfortunately, there is no easy solution, in my opinion. I mean, it's trial and error. You have to adjust your character's contact points. If you go to select your character,
we have the collision shape.
Yeah, collision shapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are those in animation?
It is somewhere. Modify.
Oh, modifying collision shapes. Yeah. Okay, so over here, and
select the chest.
Yeah, so you'd select the character's chest here, and you'd have to just adjust the size of this. You can press the R hotkey to make it larger. Right now it's just a cube or a box, okay? So it's not very detailed at all. And you could try and do something like this, but I would recommend maybe a capsule. And you can stretch out the capsule like this, again using the R hotkey. Oops, that
That's just that.
And E.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay. So stretch it out like this. And maybe just a little bit smaller. So again, that's and it's trial and error for this kind of stuff. And you can add more collision shapes as well. Just by pressing the plus up here, you can add plus, and then that'll add another shape that you can move to like this area, for example. But generally, you don't want to have too many collision shapes because it'll just create too many calculations, and it'll confuse the physics engine. So you want to keep your physics collision shapes as simple as possible. And sometimes they may have to be a bit larger than your character's actual skin mesh to avoid going through the character, because those calculations, again, they're not going to be entirely correct. So some of the funniest videos on YouTube are some of those like MMA fighter videos where they have the character just kind of flying off into the sky in some weird way. That's because of, even the AAA studios aren't able to avoid physics issues, mishaps like that. Okay, let's move on. A lot of questions. This is good. I think we've had more questions than we've ever really answered before. Okay, Peter got the double clicking there. Subdiacon asks, is the Indigo renderer suitable for iClone 7 PBR? No, we're not. We don't have the ideal shader support for that, so that would be a hard no on that one, Subdiacon. David Fisher asks, is there a way to lessen the video seams when outputting VR 360 videos? They're very obvious, especially when using camera movement. The video seams. Gosh. I've never messed around with that, unfortunately, David. I don't think we have any tutorials on that either, really, the VR. No, we haven't really done much into that. So I wouldn't be able to give you a solid answer on that one, David, unfortunately. So apologies for that. I'm just going to move on. Maybe you can email me later. I can ask the development team or something if there's any way we can possibly avoid that. So Frank asks if we can touch on the new Python interface. Anything about the new Python interface? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think either of us really. We're not really the programming guys. We're kind of the dumb animators. We don't really have too much Python knowledge. It's very simplistic, but the new Python interface, I mean, it's always improving. That's one area we want to focus on as well, is making it easier for customers and people like you to create your own plugins for your own process, whatever you want to use. Python, I don't know. Is it in the content store? I don't think we have it yet. Nothing created yet, I don't think.
It's not content store, is it?
Oh,
Here. Do we have it?
Yeah, the
No. What about community?
Community? No, not yet.
Maybe we can check out in the forum.
Yeah, for Python stuff, I would probably refer you to the forum right now. Whoops. But I think we are intending to have more of a community, more of a landing page for our Python plugin in the near future here. So you can look forward to more developments in the Python area of things. I think now it would be under developer, right? One of these. Oh, Python maybe would be in here. Oop. You're throwing me for a loop here.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. And if you want to learn more about that, more than I do, then I'd recommend just give me an email shout at kai@realillusion.com, and I'll be able to help you with that. Searching Python here. Nothing specific for it yet, eh? I know that we have developers who are working on Python stuff right now, but maybe it hasn't been launched yet. So you can look forward to maybe check back in a bit here for more Python-based plugins from our developers, because I know for a fact that we have some developers that are into the plugin or Python stuff right now as we speak. So as to when stuff is going to be released, I can't really say at this point. Okay, Mark asks, are there any ragdoll-like effects possible with the end effectors? Technically, I guess, yeah. I mean, your character would have to be a ragdoll physics-enabled character. Like, you could have your character hanging from a pole or hanging from a tree or some tree branch or something like that, and have him sway back and forth. Yeah, and you could achieve that with end effectors. I mean, but
Not
I'm not sure why you would want to use end effectors with physics. It'd just be kind of, I just attach things, right?
Maybe in the future we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that in the future. I haven't used anything like that, so sorry about that, Mark. But I haven't experimented with end effectors in physics, so I can't really. It's something I'd have to fool around with for an hour or so just to kind of see. So unfortunately, I can't give you a solid answer on that.
Currently, no.
Yeah, currently I don't think so.
Mhm.
But okay, so first of all, Kurt asked a question here. Any plans on creating a physics-based water ocean system?
Oh,
That's a huge.
huge.
Yeah, that's a really big undertaking. Unfortunately, Kurt, and especially in terms of a real-time environment, we don't have that plans for that in the near future here. Screen space collision come out of the few procedural displacements. This is a long question here.
Mhm. Basically, it's about.
Kurt, I think you should be in touch with our development team. You have some really good ideas for for how we can incorporate this physics-based water or ocean system,
Mhm.
and that would be super cool for sure. I mean, that would be huge if we could actually get that into iClone. That'd be amazing. I would really love that. Yeah, I mean, if you want to test out beta stuff for us, we can always get in touch with you and see if you want to work on any sort of plugins and stuff. Possibly collaborate with the development team, but that stuff would have to be very. We'd have to discuss specifics later on. So maybe Kurt, if you have any proposals for that, you can email me again, kai@reallusion.com, and we'll try and get to work with that on making our water physics better. You are wonderful. Thanks, Joseph. You are wonderful as well. Hopefully, we can teach you guys a little bit of stuff in this webinar. I mean, that the purpose of this QA webinar is to kind of just focus on your questions here, and any things that are weighing on your mind. Another Joseph asks, can popcorn effects be exported out of iClone into UE4?
Currently.
Yeah, currently no, we can't do that, unfortunately. So you'll have to do the popcorn effects within UE4, nothing out of iClone.
Because UE4 has their own particle system.
Yeah, UE4 has their own particle system as well. Yeah, so popcorn effects would be a plugin for that. But yeah, not exportable from iClone at this time.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if that's a feature that's super in demand anyways. Okay, another anonymous attendee here. Any chance we'll be able to animate in VR mode so we get the same perspective? For example, motion capture from VR movements, but also in another VR mode, move the other character parts, etc. I think it's maybe just having the camera, the in-house camera, the viewport camera as VR.
VR movement. And also,
Yeah, I know we can render in VR, but in terms of in the viewport cameras, yeah, no option for that, unfortunately. That's kind of an interesting idea, though.
mhm.
We could possibly integrate that in the future, having viewport VR cameras as one of our in-house camera options. But unfortunately, at this point, not available. Sorry about that. Let's go to the next question here from Andres. Making clothing for avatars right now requires third-party software. Will there be any product for that later, like the good old clone cloth? Well, I mean, you can buy all the clone cloth stuff from the content store. We still have all those bases available. But in terms of us developing and modeling software for clothing, not in the cards right now.
Mm.
Like we're not about to launch a Marvelous Designer or something like that at this point. There's just that program is quite good in itself. Stuff like 3D Coat or Marvelous Designer, really good for, or ZBrush, of course, really good for creating clothing. So and they're eons ahead of us in that regard. So in terms of us developing something like that at this point, probably not in the cards. I would say I can safely say about that.
But they can export the code to external modeling tool.
Yeah, you can export the clothing to our clothing to external modeling tools and modify it from there as well. That's a pipeline that a lot of people use. Okay, so Raphael asks, when combining two motion clips, can you control the PSR of each motion clip independently? PSR.
What is PSR?
I'm not sure what PSR means. Of each clip independently, maybe it's like the warp or something like that, or like what Motion Builder does. Ooh, not really use Motion Builder a lot. Between from one clip to another. Okay, I'm not sure. You have to kind of clarify what the PSR is, Raphael, since I'm kind of done with Motion Builder. But let's
answer?
See. Yeah.
No.
Not yet.
Or in the chat room.
Here it is. By combining two motion clips, can you control the PSR of each motion clip independently? Oh, same question. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the transition from one motion clip to another. Basically, Raphael, I can tell you that all the options available with motion clips can be achieved by right-clicking on them. It's not a body one. It's let's get out of here. Oops. Let's apply a motion to our character really quick. Samba dancing again. Any transition between one motion clip to the next. Whoops. Break. So there's you guys are probably familiar with this little transition area here. This transition area can be adjusted in length and time. You can move that back and forth. You can right-click. Basically, any option that's available for motion clip can be found in here. I'm not sure what exactly the PSR is, but time warp. You can, for transition curve presets, you can use that as well. Okay, so for your motion, and again, it's not going to be that creepy music in the background still. Yeah, so this is for the transition between two clips. Yeah, so you can also create a transition clip, right? But this transition curve presets right here, that'll be this little area. Focus on that area right there. If we ended a bounce, for example, it's like just boom, boom, like that. Not really that strong, actually.
You have to make it longer.
Yeah, make it a little bit longer. Oops. Oh, that's a damping one. Yeah, and it probably has to be a bit of a, like we can probably just break that and delete this and make this so you can see it a bit better. Okay, that's different ways you can move the transition from one point to the next. There's a deceleration. And generally, obviously, you wouldn't want to do that in this situation. It just looks weird, but that's what you can use. Anyways, okay. I'm just going to stop messing around here because maybe that's what you're talking about, and I just don't want to waste everyone's time here. But yeah, that's one way you can adjust the transition area between two clips. Well, you guys have a live connection with Cinema 4D. Not in the cards as far as I know. Great program though. And yeah, I think that's hopefully we can do something with them in the future. But at this time, nothing in the cards.
For the situation, same as the Unity, they have to provide something.
Yeah, they have to provide us with some sort of plugin to work with at first, I think. Raphael asking any ragdog features to be added soon. Yeah, I don't know that either. A lot of stuff is in development right now, but in terms of what gets released when, we can't really say at this point. I don't want to be hung up to dry or burned by the masses for saying the wrong thing here.
No, we need visual motions to buy.
Yeah, so Thomas here mentions that buying facial emotions. I mean, you could buy facial emotions, but I think the reason there's not so many is they're so easy to make. So in terms of that, yeah, you can use face key as well. Thomas here is mentioning face key, which I think is a useful tool. And in case you guys didn't know, I'll give a brief overview of it. Let's just remove our character's animation there. By selecting the character and going to the face key editor here. I showed the face puppet, and we can show the face key as well. You know, we can go to expressions up here and give our character happy expressions. Okay, and we can transition from one to the other. Okay, let me go take her from surprise to happy. Yeah, maybe to something like scared, angry. There we go. Oh, wow, look at that one. Woo. Yeah, also you can adjust the expressiveness, by the way. Let me just get out of all this stuff since we don't need it. So here's where the expressive stuff appears. There's angry 8. And go from happy to angry. And then back to happy. Okay. Yes. That's just using expressions for really quick and easy facial animation. And then if you want, you can, do the muscles as well. Each individual feature. Take your eyebrow up. And here. There you go. And
Joker's emotion.
Yeah. Oh, that's just kind of messing around in case you guys didn't know about those features there. All right, so Peter came back and said the Apple ID is used for Mixamo. Apparently that's not an option, so a little disappointed there. For those people who have Apple IDs, you can't use the Mixamo motions. Oh. Wow, wow. Okay. Soft body physics can allow animated mouse to be placed inside a character. Okay, so anonymous attendee is mentioning using soft body physics to
the body parts.
For body parts.
So it can be soft.
So they can be soft, yeah, like lungs, muscles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess that, that's an option for sure. Yeah.
Not now.
Yeah, not at this point. I think that's maybe what the, in the future. So I can't give you guys anything specific. In the year 2000, we'll have it some at some point maybe. Okay, so another question from Raphael here. Raphael. When combining two motion clips, can you control? Oh, that's the same one. Okay. Yeah. So I tried to kind of answer that, but really get much. Oh, here's the URL from Frank here. iClone. I can't even copy this, can I? iClone/open Python. Open API/Python, I think it was. Frank here put a URL that open.
All right, there you go.
Here's all our Python stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this, Frank. We couldn't find it on our own website. It's kind of embarrassing. But here's all the Python stuff that you want. I probably need to get more familiar with this. Because seems like we're supposed to be launching it this quarter here. So the plugin store is going to be launching this quarter here. Okay. Yeah, we can say that since it's up on the website already. And yeah, so here's all the information. I'll put this in the chat window for you guys here, for all the Python stuff. Oh yeah, this one. Oh yes, seems like Reillusion webinar, the host actually did that already. All right, so that's also, it's in the chat window twice now. All the Python stuff that you need to find is here, and again, all the stuff you need. I'll have to get familiar with this site myself. Okay, so thank you for that, Frank, for putting that link for everyone here. Lenny asks, can you change the sky on the timeline? No, I don't think you can change the sky on the timeline, unfortunately. You'd probably have to transition from one project to the next, and you use a transition in your photo or your video editing software. That would be the best way to do it for you there, Lenny. Sorry about that. Peter asks, is there a way to add a random shaking to your camera movement? Right now, I use a program like HitFilm to add the camera shake in post. I mean, you can do some really easy camera shaking animation, like by using the transform tool. Let's.
You have a tricky. You can link the camera to a prop, and then you use the
Direct puppet. Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to show you guys a really quick workaround because I like using direct puppet because I'm a lazy animator. So this is a way you can actually link the camera to a prop. So I'll bring this ball in here. Let's just make it a bit smaller. And throw it over here. And let's create a camera. And we'll have the camera, make sure we have it selected. Where is it here? Oh, yeah, we aren't currently on the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have the camera selected, there it is. We can't align the camera, eh?
And link it to
Yeah. So basically, align your camera with the prop that you're going to be using. And like this. And attach the camera or link the camera to the prop. So pick parent and link to the prop. And so prop, now we move the prop around, the camera will also move around. We can also have the camera look at the, right? Will this cause a problem? That should be okay, right? All right, so the camera, we can have the camera look at, by the way, I clicked here, pick target, and pick the character's head. Press F8.
Yeah, exactly.
So F8 goes into the F8 key goes into the mini viewport. Okay, so you can see right here. But we need to select the camera as camera. Okay, so there's your crazy shaking. Okay, and then if you want, you can use the direct puppet tool with the prop select, go to modify and animation and prop puppet. Okay, so just like prop puppet, let's press F8 there. You can preview this. There's your shaking. Look at the expressions. That's funny. So you got a real nice close up right there. And, all right. Anyways, that's how you can use the prop puppet and manually. And if I wanted to record that, for example, I'll just go ahead and do that. It's a nice kind of camera movement. There you go. And then if I play that back, we can put it into the main viewport here, maybe. This will be the awesome animation that we made. And again, obviously you want to like practice this a bit more and use some more detailed movement, but I just wanted to show you what you can do. Yeah, and if you want to shake the camera, you can shake it with your mouse. All right, so hopefully that answers the question there for you, Peter. Last question. Gosh, we're like, is it 2.5 hours? Holy smokes. All right. Robert asks, will you be working with FaceRig? I see that Noitum has already partnered with them and they are far cheaper than Faceware. FaceRig, that is classified. Yeah, this kind of stuff is a bit sensitive, since there's like lots of partnerships involved and stuff. But we try to work with as many partners as we can, because we want to make our motion capture software as democratic as possible. We want, everyone to be able to use it. So we're trying to. All I can say is we're trying our best to work with as many partners as we can, and hopefully we can. Hopefully someday, I have a dream, we can be partners with everybody. There'll be no discrimination in the world of motion capture.
Or put it down and discuss later.
Yeah, we'll put it down and discuss it later as well. All right, I think that about ends off our marathon webinar. That's like 2.5 hours of Q&A fun. So thanks everyone here for attending. Yeah, I think I need to grab a drink here. Okay, yeah. So again, any questions? Feel free to email me as well, kai@reallusion.com, and you can also contact our customer support for any sort of technical stuff. We will be sending out a survey for you guys, so make sure you fill out that survey, and we'll get a 10% discount for the content store, I do believe. Yeah, and that about covers it. We are recording this as well, so if you want to watch it at a later date, you can. We'll send you a link for the recorded webinar as well. I think that's about all the bases covered. So thanks everyone so much for attending, and we hope to see you in our future tutorials, future webinars, and thanks for coming by and spending a couple hours with Shifei and I, and we'll hope to see you again in a future webinar. Shifei says thank you.
Bye bye.